Welcome back to the LDM After Dark podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Luz. I know I just said that to my people watching on Facebook, but I also am going live on YouTube because you gotta be flexible here. Um, so we are gonna be talking about quite a few things, just some things that I've noticed. And like if you listen to past episodes, you know that I like to talk about health and the diet and just things that I notice in society, okay? And when I bring these things up, I just want people to know like I'm not talking out of my butthole. Like I make sure I do my research first before I go and bring up topics. Because I feel like it's important to like protect your knowledge, you know? Don't just believe anything you say. Actually do your own research and not just share like random stuff without checking first. That's how we had like a whole COVID scare because people were believing like this horrible thing was going down, and then we found out it was all man-made. It was a mess. Anyways, that went deep. Um, so I really wanted to talk about this because I've lost a lot of weight over the past year, right? I lost approximately 60 pounds simply by changing my diet. I went from eating fast foods, not really, I wasn't really a fast food person. Like at times, I would go to the deli and stuff, eat things like bagels with cream cheese, eating bagels with cream cheese and bacon. I was never a bacon, egg, and cheese type of girl because, like, it's just not my style. I don't like eggs. That's what it is. But I love desserts, and a lot of desserts in America are made either really really over processed with like processed sugar and eggs and butter and milk and cream, and it's so terrible for your arteries. Um, and then that's what I did. I actually started researching the effects of eating certain foods and the effects on your body. And what I've noticed is basically if you want to compare your body to a car, right? And your body is supposed to take unleaded gas, 93, right? Not 85, not 70, 93. Premium gasoline, okay? So we're talking like organic, naturally grown, right? I have this argument with my grandma all the time. She'd be like, "I don't eat that. I don't know what that is." And I'm like, "Grandma, organic simply means it's grown like it was back in the day. It is grown. They put the seed from the fruit that they just ate in the soil, they water it, they let it get sunlight, and then when the fruit grows on the tree or the plant or whatever plant it was, they pick the fruit by hand. They don't use a bunch of pesticides and chemicals. It's not grown in a laboratory to make it big or to make it grow faster. It takes its time and it's grown the way it used to be back in the day. That's all organic means. She still be like, "I don't know what that is. I don't eat that." I'm like, "Grandma, grandma, please. I love you, but like, come on." Um, there's been a lot of like, I don't want to call it brainwashing, but like, a lot of miscommunication when it comes to our food nowadays. Like, it's really dangerous because now we get words like vegan, and I identified as a vegan for a while. But then yes, I am leaning more towards vegan type meals, but now we have all this propaganda around being vegan, and it's just about saving animals, and that's, I love animals, but screw the animals. I care about my health, okay? My body. Because, yeah, you can say, "Oh, I'm saving the animals," and then go and eat things like impossible meat because you want a burger, but you don't want to kill a cow. And it's like, mm, we still don't do processed food over on this side. When things are processed, all the nutrients are removed. There's added chemicals to help make it like be done easier or faster to get it out at high volume quantities. And one thing that contributes a lot to the diet that is also made that way is fast food. So I did a little research, right? I was like, you know what? Let me see something here. When did fast food really start? Because we didn't always have fast food. We actually started agriculture in America. That's why we had the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression, because all these farmers were out here in the West just farming crops after crops after crops, not recycling the soil, right? Not rotating the land that they were farming on, and then they completely stripped all the minerals from the soil, and it turned the dirt with mineral rich soil into dust, literally. And then they had the winds, because it's all flat land, all the winds blowing that's dust everywhere, causing asthma problems, causing people's homes to be destroyed, causing just a unsafe environment, and a lot of the environmental effects we still have today. And you know after that happened, they weren't able to grow in the soil anymore because it wasn't soil. It was literally dust. So they had to incorporate things like pesticides and growth hormones, and then growing foods in labs, and things completely changed. Things became so industrialized, so, you know, um, mechanicalized, and things are not done the way it used to be. Even when fast food started back in the 1920s. White Castle when first opened up, and they used an assembly line. So if you don't know what an assembly line is, basically it is like a, a conveyor belt, right? When you go to the supermarket, you put your food on this belt and it moves for you towards the cash register, so the person can scan all the food. So basically, they will have a conveyor belt, right? There will be someone putting the bun, someone putting the burger, someone putting the topping, someone putting the top bun, someone wrapping it, someone putting in the bag, and then it'll go to the person and they'll serve it to the people that are buying it. It was a whole assembly line and a process that made things move faster instead of just cooking at home. And then in the 1950s, like late 40s, 1948 to be specific, McDonald's opened up. And then in the 50s, we get Burger King and Taco Bell's. In 1969, we get Wendy's, and then there's Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? All these franchises started opening up, and they started as single businesses in different parts of America. But what they started doing was people can begin to buy into this name, right? I can go to McDonald's and be like, hey, I want to open a McDonald's over here in New York. And they'll give me the rights to sell food by McDonald's, and they will ship me all of their ingredients, right? All the fries, all the burgers, all the shakes, all the McFlurries, whatever it is that McDonald's sells. They will ship it to me to allow me to sell to people out here in New York. So then that began. So once this began, now they started opening factories to begin to accommodate all these different franchises that are spread out all over America. And now it's not only America, it's in other countries as well, literally across the entire globe. I went to Italy and there was McDonald's, there was Burger King, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, these people really, they really be trying to hustle for the money anywhere they can get it. And when you go to these other countries too, these fast food restaurants are recognized as American food. And American food, is not really a culture. It's literally just fast food. And when you go to anybody that's American, like in their household, usually they're not cooking like that, because none of that is naturally made. It's not made by someone in the kitchen. That person is taking that food out of the freezer, they're putting it in an industrial microwave, they're heating it up, and then they're serving it to the people that are buying it. And these people don't know this. They're just happy that they didn't have to go out to the supermarket, buy the ingredients, cook it at home, and they got it for a deal. And it's like, the only reason it's a deal is because it's not even legit food. Like, it, and people call it food, right? The other day I asked my dad this question. I was like, what do you think food is? How would you define food? He's like, I don't know, food's food. Food's what I eat. I eat what I eat. And I'm just like, that's not really a definition, but okay. I was like, I would define food as like things that are nutritional and give your body energy to be able to function. And we began to believe that these companies were giving us real food. And then after, you know, years and years of this process of these fast food chains opening and processing, large quantities of industrialized food, we began seeing the health effects on people that were eating these foods. Then they started having to incorporate companies like the FDA and incorporate laws for them to put the calorie count, for them to put salt and sodium content warnings on foods that are high in sodium, having to regulate the sizes of drinks or sugar that they can sell to consumers, having to regulate, the processes in which the food is industrialized, because they started noticing more than 30% of America was obese by the year 2016. So we're in the year 2022, right? I'm gonna just do a quick Google research, right? Percentage of obesity in America. Into so as of September 27, 2022, this is when this was published. This is Trust for America's Health.org. It is reported that 41.9% of adults are obesity. And the highest level is in Black adults, which is at 49%. So almost 50% of Black Americans are obese. That is half of their population. Hispanic, 45.6, almost half of the population. Whites, 41.4, almost half of the population is obese. So it went from like 35% in 2016 to almost half of America being obese. So the reason this episode is titled Body Positivity Movement Gone Wrong, let me put you on. So we'll do another quick Google research, right? When did the body positivity movement begin? In 2012. Oh, and look at that. It emerged on Instagram. Social media. It's incredibly popular, accounting for 13 million social media posts by 2020. Holy. So really quickly, like this is insane to me. Well, not really insane, like it so let me adjust my mental here really quickly. I started noticing this because like I said, I lost a lot of weight over the past few months, and some of the things I noticed is like I'm able to sleep better. I have no problem exercising. Like I could exercise for hours. I'm really strong as well. Like all my life I could never do push-ups, like ever. And yesterday I did 15 push-ups. So from going to never doing push-ups to doing 15 in a row without getting tired is a really big accomplishment. Okay? I know you don't sit there and do push-ups all day. And maybe you never even tried to do it, just like me. Like I would have settled on the fact like I've tried in the past and I couldn't do it. But then I was like, you know what? I want to start doing push-ups because like my arms, like, well, yeah, they're kind of strong. But I usually would say like my upper body is weak and I have strong legs. And I was like, you know what? I want to start trying to do push-ups. So I actually tried and I did 15. And I could have done more, but I was satisfied with the 15, just to start off the first try, you know. And another thing I've noticed is wearing heels is so much easier. You know, people, I remember like always hearing comments like, "Oh my gosh, how do you wear heels?" Or "I could never walk in heels," or "These girls make people wear heels," and like I don't know how they do that all day. And usually that's the people that are usually uncomfortable in their body, right? They're not the healthiest figures. And what I've noticed is I'm able to walk in heels for hours, and I'm like, I'm basically like 100 pounds, sometimes 98, depending on how much I eat in a day, and I could wear heels without a problem. My feet don't get tired, and it's like because I weigh basically nothing. Like obviously, my feet aren't gonna get tired if I'm walking on my tiptoes all day, because it's not excessive weight on my feet. It makes complete sense. And then we started pushing this idea that it is okay to love yourself and be comfortable in your body. And that idea was beautiful. I 100% agree. But then it started changing to it is okay for you to look the way you look and be happy. And it's like, yes, but we have to begin to correlate the way you look with your actual mental health, and that's another thing that really gets me a little confused. We try to separate mental health and physical health, but last time I checked, your brain is a part of your body. Um so you can't really separate your brain from your body, but we try to do it by forcing people to pay attention to their mental health more than their physical health. And it's like your your mental health 100% influences your physical health, and your physical health 100% influences your mental health. So and overall, your health is your health, right? Um so so I think it's really important that we begin to acknowledge that your health overall is not just your mind and not just your body, but it is both, right? It is the habits that you do every single day. Matter of fact, I have a quote here for you guys, and this quote is from Aristotle. All right, so this isn't just some random guy. This is a philosopher that we've studied for eons, like decades. Like this man is the basis of a lot of our philosophy and teachings today. And his quote is, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." So if we are what we repeatedly do, you know, don't you think if you repeatedly have unhealthy habits, you're simply unhealthy? Uh, I think that would make sense, according to his quote. Um, and then another thing I really noticed, how often do you ever see a rich person in McDonald's or like Burger King or Taco Bell? And I'm not talking on TV either. I'm talking like you at McDonald's, like as an individual, or like, I know I say McDonald's a lot, and it's just because like that's usually the most popular fast food. But like, not just McDonald's, any fast food restaurant you enjoy, right? Any. It could be In-N-Out Burger, it could be Shake Shack, it could be freaking Starbucks. I don't really care. I don't go to any of them. But really think, anytime you've been in any of these fast food restaurants and you have seen someone that was a billionaire, like rich and successful, and I'm pretty sure your answer would be never. And that is because these people understand that these foods affect your body, and therefore affects your mental, and therefore you will not be able to be a successful person if you're not at your highest possible quality overall. And we have to understand, right? If your mind is a part of your body, right? You're all connected, you're all one. Anything. I love to say this to people, but literally anything you put in your body, if we look at it on a scientific level, everything is made up of molecules, of atoms. And the way that your cells function is it uses specific molecules, specific elements, specific minerals, specific amino acids, right? Specific atoms that are connected together to break them down, right? Through cellular respiration, right? You learn about the nucleus, the mitochondria, the ribosomes, all those different parts in the cell. They take those molecules, break those molecules down into the specific molecules that your body needs to function. And then through cellular respiration, whatever minerals your body needs, the cells put the minerals into your bloodstream, into your blood cells, your red blood cells. That is what your body, your veins, your capillaries, your arteries, it carries those blood cells all over your body. So those blood cells carry your phone. To get your phone, I'm sorry, I was fixing my phone. But those blood cells carry all the energy and minerals your body needs to every single part of your body, to your heart, to your lungs, to your toes, to your leg muscles, to your brain. And whatever minerals your body does not need, the blood also brings it to your kidneys and your liver and your gallbladder and your small intestine, your large intestine, and travels all the way down till it exits your body as waste, as urine, as feces. And when your body has excess waste, it starts to be released through your skin, through sweat, through pimples and abscess, blackheads. So that's usually why people that are healthier, right, that look beautiful, they have nice skin, they have a nice physique, and it's because they aren't overloading their bodies with unhealthy processed foods. And you may occasionally see like a quote unquote skinny person in a fast food restaurant always eating, and it's like, you can't only judge off the physical, you have to also consider this person's character. And if this person's character is lacking, that's usually because their mental's not right. And that is also influenced by what they consume, right? We just said your blood travels to your brain. So everything that you consume affects your mental and physical health. So the problem with obesity really is your cells in your body, right? In the beginning, I compared your body to a car. Let's say you never get an oil change in your car, right? You never detox your body. You never stop consuming fast food and you consume it excessively. And when I say excessively, if you ever go into these fast food restaurants and you look at the calorie count on these meals that we order, right? We'll order a large number 3. It'll come with fries and a drink, including the actual meal that you're gonna eat, and it'll be like 2,400 calories. Meanwhile, the human body only needs approximately 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day. And in America, we eat minimum 3 meals per day. So in one sitting, you're already eating the full calorie intake for your entire day. And you're most likely gonna eat those other 2 meals. So already you're excessively eating in that one day. So if you continue to do this every day of your life, your body is going to back up. Let's say you never get an oil change in your car. Your engine is going to begin to back up with gunk and mush of this black oil that never gets cleaned out. And then your engine is eventually gonna blow because it's not working efficiently. Okay? So your body gets things like diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, whatever other diseases they've come up with, because there's so many different names for all the same shit, and it's just unhealthy. Okay? And all it stems from is your diet, because your body is not meant to be unhealthy. Your body is meant to be healthy. Your body keeps you alive all the time. You're able to breathe on your own. Your heart beats on its own. You blink on your own. Your brain functions on its own. Like, you're the only one that hinders your brain. That is the mental part of you that is sick. If you are out here continuously indulging in habits that don't benefit you. Now, don't get me wrong, ignorance is definitely a key factor in a lot of this. There was a point in time before the FDA got involved that many people did not realize the amount of calories they were eating in one meal at McDonald's. That's why they forced them to put the calorie count next to all these foods, because when McDonald's first opened, they were only selling, for example, 7-ounce sodas. Today, they sell up to 32-ounce sodas. When McDonald's first opened, their burgers were approximately only 3 pounds. Today, they're approximately 12 pounds. So things have changed immensely since it first began to now, right? Since this body positivity movement first began till now, they're making it seem like it's okay to continue unhealthy habits. And it is all a ploy to influence your mind. If you look into these, organizations that quote unquote fight diseases, fight to find the cure, but they don't fight to prevent, right? They only fight to cure, but they don't fight to prevent. They were fighting to prevent. They would enforce diet changes. They would enforce the alteration of the quality of food they sell to people. But that's not what they do. But the point is, if you look into the funding that goes into these specific organizations, right? The people that sponsor these organizations, it's the same freaking fast food restaurants that are causing all these diseases. It is a whole game. It's like, you wash my hands, I'll scratch your back. You keep me in business, I'll bring you customers. It's sick. And it's even more sick because now we're condoning the unhealthy behavior by having this movement and people thinking it is okay to look unhealthy. And you can simply tell when people are unhealthy. All you have to do is look at them. You know what a healthy person looks like. And then I can't say that because a lot of people will look at someone that is unhealthy and be like, oh yeah, they're healthy. But we have lost the actual definition of what it means to be healthy. And I feel like many people don't know. They just, they're like, oh, well, I'm alive, I'm living. And it's like, yes, but are you in pain all the time? Do you get sick often? Pardon me. Do you, have, issues? Do you feel unsuccessful? Like, you have to pay attention to how you're actually feeling. You have to pay attention to what is going on in your daily routines. Because remember what we said, your mental is connected to your physical. So if you're feeling negative, if you're not feeling good, you're most likely unhealthy. you're most likely not giving your body the things that it needs to be effective. And what I've also noticed is a lot of this push for body positivity has also correlated to the push for like a submissive society. So I mentioned earlier in the video I went to Italy this past week, and one of the places I got to visit was the Vatican. And the Vatican is absolutely stunning because it's this gigantic building, and there's art, like paintings and sculptures, and like the actual architecture of the building it's all handmade, obviously, but it is so detailed. It's like mind-blowing. And a lot of the paintings and art that they depict is of uh what life was like when Jesus was alive, and a lot of Bible stories. The one thing I noticed, everyone has abs or they're slim. Okay, that's number one. The second thing I noticed, there was a lot of war, a lot of beheading as well. Um, a lot of you could see a lot of fear that they depict through this art, and not in the art itself, but just the feeling it gives you, like that fear of dying, or that fear of being harmed, that fear of getting into altercation. And another thing I noticed is like these wars at this time were done hand on hand combat with weapons that were made from metal and wood, spears, knives, swords, and things of that nature. They didn't have guns, they didn't have bombs, they didn't have cannons. They were fighting one on one. They were fighting face to face. You have to be strong to do that. The only thing we still have like that nowadays is boxing. And the thing with boxing is you're wearing gloves and you're hitting each other in the face. So that's why it's a very damaging sport. But these people weren't doing this for sport. They were doing this for quote unquote the sake of God, the sake of Jesus, right? For their beliefs. They were fighting for their right to live, whatever their reasons were. But regardless, it was for that sense of belonging, right? That sense of being in general, just being. And, nowadays, we don't have that sense anymore. We don't have that sense of belonging in society. Everyone is very much lost. Everyone is very much divided and separated. Everyone is trying to find out who they are and what their beliefs and their morals and values are. And they're very confused on what that means to them. And not even confused, but simply just unaware of even needing to have such things. I didn't even realize these things until I started educating myself on it. And the reason I bring this up is because, nowadays you don't have any of that. You don't have people fighting hand on hand. And you could say, yeah, it's because of laws and, preserving life and all that. But what the real reason is everyone is afraid to do that. And not only afraid, but nobody feels that sense of strength, that sense of authoritarianism, that sense of I have the power of my life, right? I have the sense of being in charge of what I want to do. And the reason being is that sense of power and belonging is being stripped from you. It's being taken away simply by the things that you consume. Because if you look at the actual chemical makeup of many of the ingredients that are incorporated in the foods that we eat and we give to our children, they literally play effect on the hormones that are present in your body. A lot of things contain soy. Whether it's soy milk, soy lecithin, soy bean, soy whatever the hell. If you look at any ingredients for any food that's processed, it contains soy. And if you know anything about soy, soy is a genetically modified form of estrogen. Estrogen is a hormone that is present in women, which gives them their feminine qualities, such as breasts, such as having a period, a menstrual cycle, and being able to have children. And if we're giving this soy to men, to boys, another thing we have is a lot of gay people. And yeah, I'm fucking going there. I have nothing against these people at all, but it is alarming to me to see the shift in that sense of awareness of self, right? If you take away strong men, if you take away that power of belonging, that power of protecting values and family, then you can basically do whatever you want, right? And when I say you, I mean the people putting these things out in society. Nobody's going to stand up and rebel against it. Nobody's going to do anything about it. It's just going to be. And it's going to continue to happen and affect more and more people. And the real big problem is simply the lack of education of the effects. Because even I was there at one point. Nobody's going to sit down and tell you these things either, because it is what keeps the quote-unquote economy going. A lot of the excuse of these fast food restaurants being open is the fact that they provide jobs. They provide a source of income to young adults and elderly people. And it's like, you pay them the lowest possible wage, right? There has to be a federal minimum wage. Not even a federal minimum wage, but a state minimum wage, depending on what state you're in, that says the amount that you're legally allowed to pay people in order for them to live in the state that they're living in. And not only that, but you don't even hire them full-time. It's part-time jobs. It's less than usually like 25 hours a week. How is someone gonna live off $15 for $25 hours a week? Like that is nothing. If you compare the prices of living and the quality of life people aim to have nowadays, it is not sustainable. Another thing I've noticed is a lot more things like Afterpay is available to people, and we don't even realize the scam. Like, you're like, oh yeah, I could pay for that, and you end up overspending on things you don't need just because it appears to be cheaper by paying it in 4 smaller installments. And it's like, number one, you didn't even need that. Number two, you really can't even afford it, but you're convinced that you can because you see the numbers are smaller. That's a whole nother story in itself. And the problem with removing that, sense of identity, that sense of power, is the ability for masses to be manipulated and controlled, and the ability for people to continue to be dependent on a part of society that is very much parasitic. And people don't realize they give up their time, their lives, to what they believe be free, right? To be able to do whatever you want, to be able to buy whatever you want, to eat whatever you want, to go wherever you want, which in reality you can't go wherever you want because you'll need a passport, you need a car, you need to pay fees for a license. They try to get you to do all this extra stuff that you don't actually have to do, to make you feel like you don't have the power to do what you want to do. And nobody questions it. Everyone just goes along with it because they see other people are doing it, and they don't take the time out to go out and actually educate themselves. They just take what other people tell them, like, look, this is how you file for taxes. When you get a job, you have to get a W-2 because that's just what you do. And it's like, make sure you research before you go out and agree to that job, before you go out and agree to signing any form of paperwork that is given to you. Actually reading terms and conditions on things is not a thing anymore because so many people, so many companies offer on terms and conditions, and people just check yes and continue going with their lives because they're like, no, I need this, I need to do this, so whatever, I just agree. And you don't realize like all the information they're taking from you, what you're actually agreeing to. Nothing. You're giving up your power on a consistent basis. And then people want to blame their circumstances for things going wrong in their life. And it's like, you are inviting all of this into your life. You don't take control. You don't validate what you're actually doing. You're just doing it. And then you're wondering why you're not where you want to be, why your goals are never met, why you feel sick, why you feel the negative feelings that you're feeling. And it all just correlates to each other. It all is like a domino effect. If you don't start off with good habits, you don't start off with protecting your body, with treating it efficiently, with treating yourself like you matter, like you have purpose, like you have power. Anyone can manipulate you. You become dependent on society. And when you're dependent on society, you're never ever going to be able to function like a normal human being. You're never ever going to be able to learn the things that are going to make you successful. You're going to be stagnant and you're going to become miserable and wonder why you are the way you are. And then you're going to be convinced that you have mental problems and then be put on medication because it's supposed to help you. Excuse me again. And when you're putting medication into your body, all you're doing is agreeing to be a lab rat. You're literally agreeing to be experimented on. A lot of these drugs are exactly that, experimental. No doctors know what these drugs do to human beings until they actually give them to human beings and continuously check up on them to see how they're doing. Anyone that takes medication knows you have to continue to go to the doctor. And you continue to tell the doctor how the medication is affecting you. And the doctor will change the medication depending on what you tell them the effects are. That is the definition of a scientific experiment. You have a hypothesis, right? You say, well, if I take these 100 milligrams of X medication every 2 days, twice a day, every day for 2 weeks, I'm gonna feel better. And then you get your materials, which is your medication. You go through the process, which is the 2 weeks of taking the medication. You collect your data, which is what are the effects that you had on your body by taking that medication for 2 days. You get your results, and then your conclusion will tell you, my hypothesis was wrong or right. And we need to change this, and then you form a new hypothesis. All right, so if you take a little less of that medication X, then you'll definitely feel better. And it's like, it's a never-ending cycle. It is a never-ending cycle, and people do not get it. So I really I really want to bring awareness to things like this because it affects majority of people of color. And as you can see, it affects white people too, right? almost 50% of white people are also obese. But it's mainly people in poverty. It's mainly the people who don't have a lot, who don't have resources, who already feel like they are worthless, who already feel and believe that they don't deserve better, that all they can have is what is around them. Their sight only goes as far as what is in front of them. They don't see past that. If you ever talk to somebody that has grown up in the projects, grown up in quote unquote the hood, they have never left that place. Majority. Not to say it for all of them, but majority have never even imagined a life outside of that community because they don't believe that it's possible. They're subjected to the same rhetoric every single day of their life. They are subjected to the same diet, the same, economy, the same environment all the time that is so negative and so disempowering that they just feel like they can't do any better. And then you go on social media. They go on social media and they see other people like them. They see them wearing designer stuff. They see them looking cool and flashing money. And they assume that's success. And then that's why I brought up the Afterpay thing. Because it's like, oh, well, now I can just pay $30 every 2 weeks and I can have that Gucci belt. And it's like, bro, the Gucci belt is not going to save you. It's not going to help you the way you think it is. It's not going to do anything for you. You need to invest in your body. You need to invest in your mind. You need to invest in your education. You need to invest in yourself. You need to invest in the people around you. Well, mainly yourself, because then once you've already gained that self-worth, naturally people around you respect you more and they're going to want to figure out how'd you do that. I want to do that too. You inspire people by being the leader, by being the groundbreaker, by being the one who changes the game, and that's why I continue to have these talks, because I really believe, people can change. People can realize that they deserve better. People can actually change the habits that negatively affect them every day. You just have to believe it. That's all it starts with. Is just saying to yourself, you know what? I do deserve this. I can do this. I can get that lifestyle that I want to live. And you look at your habits that contribute to the lifestyle you currently have, and you take note of what your habits are actually giving you. When you continue to do the same thing over and over, what do I see is my product? What is my results by doing the same habit? And then once you actually begin to change it, you'll see different results. No matter what change you make, you'll always get something different, because now you're changing what you continue to do all the time. And not only that, but what you do, what goes on internally is what you get externally. I was able to change my entire life in less than a year. And this year has been so giving to me. I was able to pay for a trip to Italy for a week for 2 people by myself. I'm 23 years old. I'm like, I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't stress out about money. I don't have problems that other people have. And that's because I took the time to invest in myself. I took the time to actually change my habits, to actually do the work. And the benefits that I'm reaping is unspeakable. It leaves me speechless. It leaves me in amazement and in this state of bliss, because you realize how beautiful life really is. People love to say, oh, well, I only have one life, so I'm gonna just live it up. And it's like, dude, you're by you continuing negative habits, you're not living. You're killing yourself faster. In reality, why not enjoy actual living? Why not actually go and do different things, experience everything you possibly can? And it's because people don't believe they can. That's what it starts with in reality. And when you look at these wealthy, successful people, they have that sense of worthiness. They have that sense of belief in themselves. They have that sense of, I deserve to have the best. And I'm going to get the best. And I'm going to be the best. And I'm going to do anything that it takes to get that. And that's the mentality you have to have, like, on a daily basis. Because if you don't have it, then you're going to be stuck in that loophole of being unhealthy, of being sick, of wondering why things are happening to you. And it's like, you are deciding that. You are letting those things happen to you. You are wishing it into your life and you don't even realize it. So you have to change your mind. Your mind is what influences everything that goes on in your life. You have to change your habits. Your habits are what give you the results that you continue to get. You have to change the things you ingest. They will affect your capabilities on a daily basis. They will negatively affect you if you overconsume things that are harmful to you. Not only that, but you should really invest the time into even learning about what you're putting into your body. I even make sure, no matter what it is, I find out what's in it. I find out where it came from. I don't just accept it and be like, oh, it looks good. It sounds good. It smells good. It must be good for me. No. I used to live like that. And I didn't get the results I was getting that I'm getting now. Completely different world. You know? And I find it really interesting how we would get so upset about, television and magazines pushing, women that were skinny and looked quote unquote beautiful and like these model bodies. Because nowadays you say model bodies and people are like, oh, well, what kind of model? Are you saying plus size or like, no. I'm talking about the original models. They were models, right? They were people that you would look up to because they appeared physically healthy. And if you actually look into the lifestyle of a model, these people, they get paid to take care of their bodies, to look good so people can photograph them, they can record them, they can use them as art. Now they use unhealthy people. Now they use anybody, right? Because you want to be inclusive and you don't want that one person to complain that, oh, you're discriminating. And it's like, we completely took that out of context. It wasn't just about race. It wasn't just about your sexuality orientation. It was about the human, the individual that they were putting on the stage for everyone to look at. Now, don't get me wrong, not all of them were perfect, right? Not all of them were people that we should look up to. But we shouldn't be looking up to a lot of the people that we look up to nowadays. And I feel like we find that out the hard way, right? Like we see a lot of like, backstories and dug up, information on all these stars. And it's like Hollywood is a playground for the bad, honestly. And it's done on purpose. It's done to influence you, to believe that the things that these people do are okay, to believe that things you do are okay. And we already established Many of the things you do to yourself on a daily basis are not okay. If they were okay, you would be okay. And I'm pretty sure you're not okay. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of issues that you just wonder why you can't get rid of them. Why do I continue to have this problem? Why do I continue to feel the way I do? And I'm pretty sure you're not looking at the habits that you have. So I feel like I touched a lot on what I wanted to touch on. Um, and I feel like I shared a lot to, help you guys ask yourself some questions like why what habits do I have that don't benefit me? What things am I continuing to do that cause me harmful results or cause me results that don't get me to where I want to be? And that's my goal at the end of the day, to get people to think about the things they are doing, about the things that are going on in their life, and realize that it doesn't have to be that way. You can change it. So thank you all for listening and tuning in. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, you guys can always contact me. I'll be more than happy to help. I'll be more than happy to be, an ear to listen, or someone to just give advice on, tips for changing and habits that seem difficult. And I've spent a lot of time researching, so I'm not just, giving you random advice. And if I don't know, I'll genuinely tell you, hey, I really don't know. But do the work, and you'll reap the benefits no matter what. That is a guarantee. So, like always, thank you for listening to the LDM After Dark podcast with your host, Alyssa Luce. And have a great night, everybody. I appreciate all of you. Bye.